I'm Charisse LeClaire. The September 9th primary is right around the corner, and we want you to be informed. CBS 3 Springfield, The Republican, MassLive.com, and New England Public Radio have joined together to bring you a detailed look at the candidates running for public office. Now here's the Republicans' Robert-rizzuto to introduce to us the Republican candidates for the 2nd Franklin District, made up of 5 towns in Worcester County and 7 towns in Franklin County.
Hello and thanks for joining us for this edition of the 2014 Campaign Roundtable. I'm politics reporter Robert-rizzuto. And before we meet our candidates today, I'd like to introduce you to our panel of journalists. We have the Republicans' Director of Reader Engagement, Rob Genest, and one of our chief editorial writers, Ron Chemelis. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. And I am here with 2 Republicans running to represent the 2nd Franklin District here in Massachusetts. To my left is Susannah-Whipps-lee. Susanna, thank you very much for joining us. And to her left is Karen Anderson.
Thank you.
A little bit about the candidates here. Miss Anderson is a mother of 6, and she has a background in elementary education, and she's also served on the Board of Education at the North Congregational Church of New Salem. Miss Whipps-lee is an Athol Select woman, and she also runs Whips Inc., which is a business that manufactures purification parts for sewage treatment plants?
Yes, flow control equipment for sewage treatment, water control facilities, as well as dams and reservoirs.
Very good. And both of these ladies are running to represent the 2nd Franklin District, which comprised of 5 towns in Worcester County, 7 in Franklin County, and is currently represented by Democrat Denise Andrews, who's been in there for 2 terms, and she's running for a 3rd. So ladies, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We will jump right into the first topic here. It is one that's important in your district. The energy company Kinder Morgan is working to get approval for expansion of a natural gas pipeline throughout the Northeast. This pipeline would cut through parts of Worcester, Franklin, and Berkshire County. Since this project was announced, it's been very contentious. It stirred passions on both sides of the argument, with some folks coming out for it and some coming out against it. Just as you've talked to folks in your district and helped formulated your own position on this, we'd like to know, do you support the project? And if not, why? Discuss it. And for the first one, we will start with you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. Yes, there's a lot of discussion up in our area. Most people are against it for the purpose that it's going to destroy a lot of the conservation areas, watersheds. The high watershed tables are going to be broken down, they're afraid. But we have a lot of questions that are still not answered, which is part of the reason that I personally have not taken a stand on either side of this. And one of those is we had 5 governors that went down and asked specifically for it. If it's not going to benefit our state, then why was it asked to be brought up here? Another one, talking to S&S Appliance in downtown Athol, they said that the Orange Oil Company is going to be discontinuing their appliance line because they're going to be dealing in gas. If this is so, then how can they deal in gas if it's not going to be affecting our area? Are these needs going to be met? We have 2 coal plants that are closing down. We have Vermont Nuclear that is also closing down. Who is going to replace that energy need? We all have cell phones, we all have computers, and we charge them every day. So we need to find out what exactly is going on, what nature is going to actually be removed. And those questions aren't answered yet. Until we have more answers, I want to have a level viewpoint and understand all the facts first.
Gotcha. And Ms. Whipps-lee?
Thank you. Actually, as a member of the Athol Board of Selectmen, we hosted Kinder Morgan the other night at our town hall and had quite a few people come out. The Northeast as a whole needs to diversify its energy portfolio. We all understand that. Kinder Morgan has 600 miles of pipe already running in the southern tier of the state. For them not to go through the process of re-permitting, which they already have permanent easements, and send the gas through the lower part of the state rather than coming up through the northern tier, I think it's a bad idea for our area. I also have a lot of concern when Kinder Morgan talked about petitioning the federal government for eminent domain rights to take people's property from them. The property up through the northern tier of our state, and especially through Warwick, Orange, and Athol, which are some of the towns they're talking about cutting through, it's ledgy and bony. The people up there are ledgy and bony too, and pretty tough. And they're not in favor of it. They're not in favor of the plan at all. And I truly believe that the government should not take property by eminent domain for corporate profit. Regardless of the nature of whatever's in the pipeline, it's a poor project. And again, Kinder Morgan has 600 miles of pipeline with permanent easements, and I would suggest they use that.
Gotcha. All right. Definitely difference on the topic. Thank you very much, ladies. The next question we will go to kind of brings Massachusetts to the spotlight on the national scale. The Supreme Court recently ruled that a Massachusetts law which mandated a buffer zone around abortion clinics where it was protest-free was unconstitutional. The state legislature responded with a law basically that allowed law enforcement and police to disperse groups of folks that may congregate outside of places where they perform abortions. And I think the idea, as far as what they stated, was to prevent women from potentially being harassed. But this is obviously another contentious topic. Do you think that the state legislature was right in acting to take action on this topic, or would you have voted against this? And we can start with you, Ms. Whipps-lee.
To take action against a decision that's already been made by a unanimous decision of the Supreme Court is a waste of resources. People are allowed to peacefully gather on public ways. The Supreme Court, even in their judgment, said they don't necessarily believe in what the people are there for and what they're saying, but they do believe in their right given to them by the United States Constitution to be in a public way. Kind of the soapbox thing, you know. I don't like the idea of anybody being harassed on a public way as well. So there's an opportunity for people to be there, speak their mind, and peacefully assemble. There isn't really, you know, the local police have the authority to remove people if they're causing problems and they're harassing and they're intimidating people. But for Massachusetts to try to run around a decision that's already been decided unanimously by the United States Supreme Court, I just think it's a waste of resources.
Gotcha. So you would have voted against that
Yes.
bill? Gotcha. And Ms. Anderson?
I also would have voted against it. If you have a grandmother taking her granddaughter in, she has no right to counsel with her there on the sidewalk because they are changing the law that you can't have a congregation of two. And so a congregation of two is part of the error. I don't think that that should have been included. I agree with what she had to say. Thank you.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you very much. We are going to take a short break, and we'll be back momentarily.